Welcome to Highlighted, a Life Church Midweek Podcast. Here we're on a journey to look for ways to make our sermons more practical in our everyday lives, and we want to inspire you to live out your faith every single day, not just on Sundays. In each episode, we highlight our sermons and our ministries to see how God is working in our church and through our community. And for the last time in 2025, we're on opposite sides today.
This is weird.
But I'm joined with the greatest pastor in the world, right? And speaking of, right, because obviously we're not at Life Church, right?
No.
We're at the North Pole or something.
We get invited once a year.
Once a year. So speaking of loving our community and speaking of ministries happening in our church, we just got done with Christmas Fest. It was this past weekend. And first off, I want to say, if you help serve in any capacity for that, thank you. But also, secondly, it was a lot of fun this year.
It was.
And you got to do some different things than you normally got to do. And if you were here or you were even here on Sunday, right, you got to hear a little bit about it. And I got to do some fun stuff. I mean, I had a doctor's appointment. I wasn't here. I wasn't here.
You didn't even come to
I didn't come to Christmas Fest.
Yeah,
but
it's messed up.
I heard it was a lot of fun. And it was just, it's always one of those special times. We just get to love our community in a fun, exciting way and introduce them to Jesus, whether that's the first time they've ever heard about Jesus or whether, they've been hearing it over and over again. And it's just so much fun. Getting to experience that together and just serving together was a lot of fun just because there were so many different people throughout our whole property, like inside and outside, unfortunately in the cold. So thank you, Nick, specifically.
Yeah.
Thank you for braving the winter weather.
Yeah. Well, Nick and Aaron and Mark.
Oh,
yeah, Aaron and Mark were outside. They were on one end of the parking lot. Nick was on the other end. So
yeah. So again, that was a lot of fun, and that's why we've been invited to the North Pole.
Yeah.
For today's episode, and I know what you're thinking, like, Paul, why is there an episode today? Like, Christmas at Life is this Sunday. Shouldn't you be getting ready for that? Yes, we are, and that's why we took a little vacation to the North Pole.
Yeah.
There's so much to do, so we really got to rush back to Roanoke. Right after this, I think we'll get some hot cocoa.
Yeah, all the best
with the
hot
clauses.
cocoa here. Yeah.
Other than that, I just wanted to take the time to say, hey, thank you for serving and being a part of our church family and community. But also, if you are a regular listener of Highlighted, I wanted to say thank you for coming with us on this journey. I think we've done, I think this is the 36th or 37th episode. Not to be funny, but I think that's the 36th or 7th episode that we've done this year.
Have you been talking to Frosty Stan?
I've been spending way too much time with Frosty Stan, the snowman. And so I wanted to say, whether you listen to one episode or all 36, thank you for coming along with us, journeying with us, putting up with us at times. And I just want to read you some stats. I did this last year, and if you watch last year's end of year special episode, you would know that I accidentally didn't hit record the first time.
It was terrible.
So this is recording now. I hope. It is.
I hope for your sake it is.
So you got these as a surprise last year, and then by the time we re-recorded it, it wasn't no longer a surprise. So this year we're going to do a little surprise. And this is for all of Spotify. So this is not counting our YouTube audience or Apple Podcasts or anywhere else that you listen to podcasts, but specifically for Highlighted and our sermons that go to podcasts on Spotify. We've seen, just in Spotify alone, an increase of 150% in new audience from last year.
Come on.
Right?
That's
so
exciting.
That's crazy.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. And then in that, our follower count, so that includes listeners.
Sure.
And whether they follow us or not, but our follower count from last year has increased 64%.
Hey.
And our increased total listening time, so not just people who click on it, but sit there and listen, our listening time increased 17%.
Nice.
So not only are more of you listening, but you're listening for longer.
Yeah.
So either you're just enjoying Spotify more, maybe you moved over from a different app, or you're preaching better. So
maybe
in that,
they hope I preach better.
One episode rose above the top this year on Spotify. Again, this is
this
all
an
Spotify.
Episode of
This is
Highlighted?
Not an episode of Highlighted.
Oh,
it is
okay.
a sermon.
It's a
from
sermon.
Sunday morning. I'll have you guess.
Oh
the
my
series.
goodness!
what series were we in? Were we even in a series? Were you even preaching? I don't know.
That's a good question.
So one episode rose above the best, and I'll say this: it was played 172% more.
I'm trying to think if there was
episode.
Any of them that I fell off the stage or
well, this is Spotify.
Any of that.
So it's
so they wouldn't
only.
see it. It's audio only.
It's audio only.
It's oh man, it's going to be in the Hebrews 11, the Faith Hall of Fame series.
It was not.
It wasn't.
It was before that.
It was before that.
I'll give you that clue.
Man, I have no idea.
It was in the first half of the year.
First half of the year. Gosh, now you got me thinking because I don't even think I remember every series from the first half of the year right now. I don't know which one was it.
It was devoted. Specifically week 1. How we're devoted with our time.
Wow.
So if you I say I could go back and listen to last Sunday. If you didn't listen to that sermon series, maybe you just started listening or just started coming to the church after that. That was before Easter.
Yeah.
Go back and listen. That was way back. That was
way back.
Pre-Easter in the year 1 BE. So that was 172% more than our average episode.
I wonder why.
So I don't know why, but that was a lot of fun.
Go back and listen to it, and then
send
us a message as to why you think that message was listened to more than others.
Yeah, and maybe I really don't. I have no guess as to why. And last year was the same way. It was a random episode of Highlighted. Yeah, just happened to be the more streamed one, and not one that we thought it would have been.
Yeah.
So again, thank you for listening. Right, if you're listening on Spotify specifically, thank you because this is where this data is from. And this is cool. This is cool. For the first time on Spotify, we are not just in one country.
Oh, nice.
So we were listened to in the United States,
sure,
of course.
Makes sense.
If you had to guess where else in the world.
And
I'll tell you, it's on the other side of the globe.
It's on the other side of the globe. It's Russia.
No.
Where?
South Korea.
South Korea.
So I don't know how many streams we have in South Korea, but I do know we had listeners in South Korea. And this is cool. So this is Spotify data because they just give it to us at the end of the year. If you're a Spotify user and you're listening right now, you probably received your Spotify Wrapped, and it tells you who your favorite artists were, what your most streamed song was, how many minutes you listen to music or podcasts, what your most streamed show was. We were a top 10 show for 13 people on Spotify this year.
Nice.
So again, thank you for putting up with us. And that's
that's your mom,
10.
my mom.
Wait. We were a top 5 show.
What?
For 9 people.
Come on.
Year. And then on top of that, we were the number 1 show for 6 people.
That's awesome.
So if you are an avid listener of the Life Church Midweek Podcast or our regular Life Church podcast, thank you.
I can name all 6. Your mom, my mom. No.
And then of the our top fans streamed 3.7 times more than anyone else, and 35% of them binged 2 episodes at least in one day, at least once. So 15% of our top listeners hit play within the first 24 hours of a new episode drop. And it gives me a lot of prompts. So I know it's a lot of pausing and continuing. I'm trying to get this last number. There's some extra stuff. And then on average, compared to what other people are listening to, our fans who listen to music, who listen to other podcasts, who listen to audiobooks now on Spotify, our fans listen to our show 73% longer than other shows. So
come on.
Our average rating too is 75% higher than all other shows on Spotify. And we received 87% more shares than other shows that are posted on Spotify. So that's all of our Spotify Wrapped. I wish I had data for Amazon Prime and Apple Podcasts and YouTube. But all this to say, thank you for journeying with us through this year. I know it's been crazy. It's been busy. We've been talking about your story for far too long, and you're probably sick of it. But this last series that we're in. So I'm going to pause like I usually do. If you didn't listen to the last 2 weeks, go back and listen because they were some great, again, super practical series that followed the traditional Christmas story. and take us on this journey to joy. And I love this. You said this 2 weeks ago, week 1, and is pretty distant because we had the week of Christmas Fest that we were prepping. So we didn't do an episode last week, but we were talking just all about the idea that joy isn't just this feeling that we get when we're happy, but we really need to separate the two, because joy comes from the Father. Joy comes from knowing Jesus, not from our circumstances. So we got to see that in Mary and Joseph's life in a very practical way, where, like, if I'm Joseph and an angel comes to me in a dream and is like, hey, your wife's pregnant, and not even my wife yet. Right. Your virgin wife is pregnant. And it's not, it's not yours.
Somebody's tripping.
You're like,
yeah.
Who do I gotta punch?
Right.
Like, angel, like, take me to them.
This is a problem. Yeah.
And so it's like, you got to think of that. And then also, like, it tells us in scripture, like, he was going to go divorce her quietly because he don't want to put her to shame. Yeah. So it's like, obviously, it's like, okay, there's some tension there. There's some, and you got to think too, like, you can't be telling everyone that an angel came to you in your dream. And I mean, even if you do tell everyone, they're not all going to believe you. It's like, okay, Joseph, okay, whatever. Carpenter boy, whatever. Yeah. So like, knowing that, like, you're probably like fighting some like social norms and stuff that are happening in your culture. You're probably fighting with some family, right? Because Joseph's parents probably aren't happy that his wife is all knocked up before they got married.
100%, that was a problem.
So it's like, there's all of these issues, and even through it, Mary and Joseph both say yes to what God wants to do, and they're faithful in it all. So like, that's kind of in a nutshell, week 1, we focused on Mary and Joseph. And then this past week, we got to look at the life of the shepherds, and I think my favorite thing that you drew out on Sunday was the idea that they just dropped everything
in a moment.
And it's like, I think of, David, the shepherd boy, who, like, his dad didn't even bother to go get him. When Samuel was coming and looking for the king.
I know what series we need to do next.
When Samuel's going to anoint a king, and Jesse's like, here are all my sons. But there's a son in the field tending to the animals.
He's a nobody.
Like, that's more important. Like, you're not going to pick him. That's more important. He's got to stay there. Yeah. And so I think of just that idea that, like, even in I feel like if I'm Jesse, and I'm going to raise my odds, like, one of my sons is going to be king, I'd rather go, like, 0 for 12 than 0 for 11. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to put them all out there, even if I don't. Okay, like, you're the young one, you're the shepherd boy. You're not going to be the king, but just in case, I'm going to find someone to fill your spot, just cuz, like, if you're king, then, like, I get some benefit from that.
There's some benefit to it, yeah.
So, I think of, like, that scenario, and it's even more special because we know Jesus came from that line too. And I just think of David, the shepherd boy, who was literally out in the field because his dad was like, you're not going to be king. This is more important. And so now we see these shepherds who are nobodies, right? They don't matter. They're not important to society. They just watch animals, right? They're dirty. They're smelly. They're young. Like, who cares about these shepherd boys? And out of everyone, right, in Bethlehem or near Bethlehem or in the surrounding metro area, right, the angels don't go to the king. The angels don't go to the tax collectors. The angels don't go to the so-and-so or these people that have status. They don't go to the priests. They don't go to the temple. They go to these shepherds who are in the field working. And their response, right, because they're so overwhelmed with joy, isn't to say, okay, angel, let us find some people to cover our shift. Let us go put these sheep back in a pen. Let us, like, dig a hole and just shove them in the hole or something, right? We don't want to lose these sheep, right? And it's just this picture of what Jesus does for us too, is the other just amazing thing. So they drop what they're doing to go and worship the king. And in the same way, right, as we're sheep and we hear about Jesus leaving the 99 for the one, drops everything. Doesn't make any sense. There's wild animal. Like, we hear about some shepherd stories in the Old Testament, and they're like fighting with their hands against, like, lions and like wild animals. And it's not like they don't have a YMCA membership. It's not like they're out pumping iron trying to get like eating their creatine protein shake for breakfast to try to get their muscles right to fight these lions. But the faith to drop their whole profession, literally their whole lifestyle, and to go and worship this child. And you said this on Sunday too. It's not like the angel gave them really clear instructions. Right. And because of that, it caused them to go and share what they experienced too.
I think it's funny that the angel didn't even tell them to go. The angel just said, this has happened. And, you mentioned the angels coming to shepherds instead of kings and whatever. And the crazy part about that is that Bethlehem is literally in the shadow of one of Herod's greatest building projects and one of his palaces. Like Bethlehem sets in the shadow of that palace. And so, it's conceivable that, kings would have been close by, kings would have been around, even important people would have been around. It's conceivable that the angels could have went to anyone, and yet they went to shepherds. And the thing that we really drew on from Sunday was that the shepherds ran. They didn't wait. When the revelation of God came, there was an urgency to what they did. And they didn't just run and go greet the baby and stay there. They greeted the baby, and as they left, they told everyone about what was happening. So by the time the shepherds leave, there is a string of people as they're heading back to the fields who are hearing about what has happened and what's going on, and that these angels came, and that there's this baby, and he's the Messiah, and there's all these things. They get back to the field, and I just imagine, and I think about, okay, we got to go find our sheep, right? That's the first part. We got to make sure we have everybody's here. They get in, and there's Sally, there's Jim, there's whatever. They get all the sheep back, and if you're Sally or Jim, I'm not.
You're a sheep. Yes, pastor said.
It just is what it is. And so they get back, they get all the sheep back in, and now they're sitting around, and things are quiet again, and they're like, what just happened? Right? It's kind of what I would equate, like, I know you're probably too young for this, but when I think the guy's name was Ed McMahon would show up at people's house to tell them they've won millions of dollars, right? I know.
No, sorry.
It might be Publishers Clearinghouse. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what it was. And like after all the pomp and circumstance and all the announcement and everything that happens, and you go back in your house and you're like, what just happened? I can't even wrap my head around what was just said to me, what was just done. And so they probably spent the next few days like talking to each other, right? The night shift shepherds are like, okay, tomorrow night we're going to replay this, and we're going to talk about this again and then again and again. And so they went home, and they would have told their families, who may or may not have listened to them, may or may not have cared what they had to say. And yet they, the lowliest of the low, got to experience to be the first ones to see and evangelize. And it's because they understood that there was an urgency to what the angel was saying. When the revelation of God comes, it creates an urgency, and not just to go to Jesus, but to share what he's done for you. And so the whole concept is they ran, and we are to run when it comes to the journey, for our journey for joy. When the revelation of God comes, we respond to it with urgency, and not alone. There are people who need to hear, especially in this season. People are more open. People are more engaged with and want to know what makes this so important. Why do we celebrate this? Not just the gifts and the trees and all the fun stuff that we do, not just the North Pole and all that stuff. All that's great, and I don't have a problem with that. I love the fantasy that surrounds Christmas. And if you come to my house, I have a whole shelf full of little ceramic $1 Santa Clauses that the dollar store used to sell that are from different countries, and I read books. I've read books about the history of Santa Claus and all that stuff. I don't have an issue with any of that, but we can't lose sight of what it really is, and there's a hunger for that in our world. And as we run to joy, we take people with us. We help them understand what this means. And that's the purpose of this series. Mary and Joseph went, and it was a hard journey, but it was a joyful journey, even though it was hard. within that, you now we're saying we run to joy. We don't just walk to joy. We don't just haphazardly move towards it. We're running towards it every season, not just Christmas. We're running towards it every day, every hour, every moment. And when we choose to do that, we will bring people along with us. By the way, that is simply the Great Commission and the Great Commandment. Love God, love people, live life together.
Yeah. And you said it just now, but people are more receptive to the gospel at this time of year. Maybe it's a little bit of family nostalgia. Maybe it's because they're going and visiting grandma, and grandma goes to church, so we're going to go to church. And, this is the family thing. Or we always go to church on Christmas. Maybe I'm not super involved with it anymore, or whatever the scenario is. I saw this statistic yesterday, specifically at Christmas time. Normally, the number is like 50 to 60% of people are open and willing to go to church if they got invited.
Right.
Anybody, whether they've been to church or not. If someone they know invites them, there's 60% of people are likely to say yes.
Yeah.
At Christmas, that shifts to 82%.
Yeah. Invite somebody. That's what he's telling you.
82% of people say yes if they're invited to church by someone they know around Christmas time. And so all that to say, we have Christmas at Life coming up this Sunday, right? Which is just a super fun and engaging way to just say, hey, I know you're not into church stuff, but we're going to sing some extra Christmas songs.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Jesus. Yeah, like that. Maybe that makes you uncomfortable, but that's okay. Like, come and sit with me.
Come sit in the uncomfortable.
Come sit in that. And also, right, so maybe they're busy. Maybe they're working on Sunday. Maybe they're out of town on Sunday, but they'll be back on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
We have Christmas Eve candlelight and communion service. It's a really short service. It's under an hour long at 5 p.m. on Christmas Eve. So that's two like Christmassy opportunities to go ahead and bring someone to church with you. But then also the following Sunday, we have our normal Sunday morning service. Yeah. So even if, hey, I would love to come with you to Christmas at Life. I would love to come with you to Christmas Eve, but I'm going to be out of town till next week.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. We're still having church the next week. You can sure, you're going to miss the Christmas stuff, and that's shame on you, But all this to say, there's so many different avenues and methods we have to invite people, and sometimes we just psych ourselves out. Sometimes we think, oh man, like my neighbor's going to think so weirdly of me. They're going to know they're going to know where I'm at on Sunday. They're going to know where to find me, and they're already nosy enough. Like I don't want to invite them to church. Whatever your thought is. That was good. That's unique.
That was good.
That's a good excuse.
I didn't expect that. Yeah.
But all this to say, there's so many ways that we psych ourselves out of choosing invitation, right? And making that our instinct. But especially now more than the 11 other months of the year, people are more receptive to it. And I don't know the science behind it or the data behind it, but I do know that Jesus is calling out to them.
Yeah.
And he's reaching out to them, and he's using us to do it.
It's good.
So we've been talking about it all year long, right? We're living our story of faith so that the next person along the way can go and live that story of faith out too. Good. So I just want to encourage you, challenge you, man, whoever it is, that family member who hasn't been to church in years, that neighbor that you hate talking to, that school bus driver that stops just a little too suddenly with your kid on the bus, and you're always frustrated when you go to pick up your kid at the bus stop, or whoever it is, right? Someone you interact with, someone share the love of Jesus with them this season and invite them to church. Invite them to come step into this, and it might be uncomfortable, and they might say no, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? But Jesus is reaching out to them, right? He's leaving the 99, right? He's dropping the sheep in the field to go chase after the one. And we have the opportunity to be a part of that.
That's good.
So that's really special. And again, there's so much happening in the next week here at church, right? We have Christmas at Life this Sunday. We have Christmas Eve next Wednesday at 5 p.m. And then we also have our regular service. And then stepping into January, we are starting 21 days of prayer and fasting, starting on that very first Sunday, January 4th. We're combining that with House of Prayer all month long in the month of January. So there's so much happening and so many ways to get involved. And again, I just want to say, if you've journeyed with us for all 36 episodes this year, thank you. If this is the very first episode you watched, thank you. If you're watching this 3 years from now and you don't even know how you stumbled across this episode,
thanks.
Thank you. But as always, let's be a part of someone's story, right? As we step into this new year, let's really step into the Great Commission and go and be the hands and feet of Jesus. So this is it for this year. This is our last time signing off on Highlighted, but there's still so much going on. Yeah. And when we come back in January, there's going to be so much still going on. So as always, we love you, and we can't wait to see you again soon.